you open this now, this page will
I'm sure it's going to be an insightful session. Madam is going to give you a lot of inputs. And yes, let us all be good researchers. And as we know, the research also helps us in being better teachers. It's not just for publication, but also we could get a lot of resources or inputs even for better teaching, which is going to be useful at the end of the day for our students. And with AICT talking about research, and as you all know that research is so important, let us all get into this field. Warm welcome to Sumitra ma'am. Thank you for joining. I think over to you, ma'am. Over to Samatha. Samatha, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Research is an evolving and dynamic process that requires us to continuously adopt, innovate, and integrate new knowledge into our work. As researchers and educators, we have a critical role to play in shaping the future of knowledge. Whether you are a beginner in research or an experienced academician, enhancing your research competency is an ongoing journey. Research is not just contributing new knowledge, it's about communicating that knowledge in a way that is accessible, useful, and impactful. Research competency is not just technical skills, it's a mindset that combines curiosity, creativity, and critical reflection. Today, we are here to focus on improving our research capabilities to make meaningful contributions to our fields. This FDP is designed to help educators and researchers navigate the evolving landscape of research methodologies and practices. It is my privilege to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Sumitra Srinath. Ma'am is a professor at MP Birla Institute of Management, training and grooming postgraduate management students for the past 26 years. She is associated with Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bengaluru Kendra from past 21 years. She is recognized as a guide for PhD in management at ICFI University. She has 2 research scholars under her. She has been invited as session chair for technical sessions at several national and international conferences. She is on the editorial board of Bangladesh Human Resource Journal. She has presented 38 conference papers at national and international conferences. Ma'am has also published 28 journal articles in the areas of marketing and human resource. Her articles have been cited in European journals and PhD theses. She has 21 citations with H-Index 2 and I-10 Index 1. She has 2 registered patents in AI and 1 application under process in generative AI. She has reviewed many management books published by Pearson Publication and Tata McGraw-Hill Company. She is also a corporate trainer, also been a part of various management seminars and symposiums. She spearheads business leadership forums and certificate programs at MP Birla Institute of Management. She has obtained her doctorate degree in management from Symbiosis International University, Pune. She is an MBA from Bharatiya University, Coimbatore. Ma'am was honored at Lions Club Baswangudi in the year on 15 September 2013 for the services rendered to the society by counseling women employees, by awakening and motivating them for better prospects in life. Ma'am, thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining with us today. I hope that this session proves to be a valuable learning experience for all of us. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Sumitra Srinath, ma'am, today's resource person, to share her insights on research skills. Thank you, ma'am, and the session is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for this introduction. I don't know how much justice I'll be able to do. But first of all, I would like to thank your chief patrons of the institute, Vishwanath sir and Priya madam, and an opportunity given to me by Pushpa Shetty madam. I would like to thank all of you. Whatever little I know, I would like to share that today. Ma'am, can I share my PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
But still some backup and safety purpose. Let the participant.
Yes, ma'am, you can share.
Yeah. Is it visible, ma'am?
Share the.
Is it visible, ma'am? Is it visible? Is my PPT visible? Is my PPT visible, ma'am?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Let us see. Admit.
I am not able to share, maybe.
Is it?
Yeah. Now is it visible?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Maybe you have to share the host to me, probably.
Ma'am, you are able to share, ma'am.
Now am I clear? Visible?
Actually, screen, but PPT is not visible, ma'am.
Now?
Open the PPT, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, PPT is not visible. Stop sharing I have given, probably.
Yes. First, open and minimize the PPT, ma'am.
Now, can I share the PPT to you? Will you be able to share it on this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. I am mute.
1 second, ma'am. I'll just share the PPT.
Okay, ma'am.
Just give me a few minutes.
Sorry.
Ma'am, can I have the mail ID?
Ma'am, can I post it in chat box?
Yeah, you can, but I'll just send it to madam.
Oh, Pushpa Shetty.
I've sent it to ma'am. I've sent it to madam.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Obviously.
It's asking for permission, ma'am. So that is why I'm not able to share. It's asking for permission, ma'am.
One second, ma'am. I'll give the permission as well.
Yeah, otherwise I can share here. I'm ready with my PPT.
Okay.
I can share.
Sorry for the technical glitches. In a minute, we will present the PPT.
If it is highlighting allow, then I can share from here only. I'm ready.
Ma'am, if you can share, please, ma'am.
Yeah, I can share. You must grant permission in order to screen share.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. You can't share your screen. That's what it's showing here.
Ma'am, I'm sharing the screen, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Now, am I audible? Am I audible?
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You're audible, ma'am.
It's audible, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello.
Thank you.
Yeah. You can start. Go to the next slide, ma'am. I'll just start. Yeah. See, the agenda of discussion will be four. I have divided that into 4 phases. First step is to understand the steps of the research process. Second is learning effective strategies for conducting research. Third one is discovering tips for successful publication. Fourth one is exploring methods to enhance the research skills. So I have divided the main presentation into 4 sections. So one by one, let us see. Can we go to the next slide, ma'am? Yeah. Now this slide I have put in as the 4 points very important: critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, and dissemination. What is this critical thinking? How am I going to take that to the research? So first thing is imagination and creativity. Now, most of my research area is in management. So majority, I'm going to share with you an idea how to start critical thinking. Now, let us see the example of a tomato ketchup bottle. Now, the bottle is like this. Now, there is also another kind of a packaging that's available called as easy squeeze pack. Now, I can ask people whether you like this one or that one. This is easy for storage or that one. So, the critical thinking starts here. And why these people have made this kind of a packaging? So, that takes into the next step. Then we'll think why they're always changing the pack. So that is your conceptual thinking. The fourth one is let us try to understand whether how many people will like this, what they are talking about this. So this is the beginning of the research point of view in this area. So there starts the critical thinking. Now the second point we are going to address is problem solving. So how do we solve this problem? Then people will be giving yes, no like this. How are we going to go about? So we will look at how to write this, our problem, in the statement like what the research wants. We have to write how research language needs to be in writing. So I have a problem, I have to write it in a particular language. So we will go ahead and writing about it. I will be talking about that as well. Now, logic and reasoning. This reasoning is why. How am I going to collect data? How am I going to convert my thought process to a research orientation? So this all drags to the conceptual thinking. Next comes the point of reflection and feedback. Now, if people give feedback, what am I going to do? So this is another point wherein I am going to talk about. Then next comes about the scientific experimentation. See, science research is completely different. Management research is completely different. There is a focal difference in the science research and management research. Science people, whatever they invent, their lab experiments, they can convert into a research paper. But management graduates cannot do that way. So management research cannot be done that way. So we have to do a little, we go beyond what the science people are doing. And this is completely a different perspective. Now, next I am coming to the analysis part. Analysis talks about how do I collect the data? How do I analyze? What should be the reflection? What should be the conclusion? What should be the outcome? How am I expecting? So all these things will be the focal skills. Next comes the point of dissemination. Now, what do I do if with this research? Should I publish? Should I keep it to myself? Should I talk to this about to the people? All these questions comes in. So that talks about these basic research skills. Can I have the next slide, ma'am? Now, steps in research process. This is the first thing I'm going to discuss today. Now, what is research? Everybody uses the word left, right, center, the word research. Now, what is research? Point number one is to investigate. What am I going to investigate? That is up to me. As a researcher, I need to define that. Now, to collect information from which sources? Primary data, secondary data, or already published data. I'm going to write review on that, anything like that. Then to organize the information in a meaningful way. Normal information about studies is different. Writing a research is completely different. So this is the beginning of the research process. Next, deciding what to research, what to investigate. Now focus, there are many things in this world I would like to research on. I have a mobile phone. I would like to research on that. How many people are owning the same brand, OnePlus? How many people are owning iPhone? I would like to investigate on that. What interests you the most? Maybe a movie. Okay, so Singham 3, Singham 4, whatever movie I would like to. So I would like to investigate on that. What has a lot of information? Is it applicable? Today, movie marketing research is also popular. Now, next, where can you find the information? Is it published, not published? Is it very new? So all these things I need to know. What I would like to know when I am doing this research process. So these are the focusing questions that will allow you to find a much deeper route. Next slide, ma'am. Why do we research? There are a lot of things we need to study. One is the learning point of view. Second is the point of view for when we are in the teaching line, even to discuss something in the class, to disseminate the information to students, we need to have a lot of information. A question arises, we will be able to sort out if we have the information. Third point is that publication makes us good route of networking. So that is another point of view. Fourth point is that when we record publication, it is also an academic point of view that the researchers, that the knowledge goes and it is recorded in the institutional perspective. It is for accreditation and many other things. Now coming to the topic area of the research. what is the main theme, what is the topic, what is the subtopic. So these are all the points that comes in. Now, how do we identify a topic? Example, I have given sustainable practices. Everybody today talks about sustainability because SEBI is demanding sustainability reports from all the companies. So if, for example, I am thinking about sustainable practices, the subtopic will be sustainable packaging. Now, why subtopic? Always a research should have a narrow down of the topic. We cannot be researching a broader perspective and we will not be resulting in even a small thing. So when we narrow down our topic, results will be as required and we can pinpoint at a particular outcome. So that is why we are using the subtopics or narrowing down the research to give exclusive conclusions, to give exclusive conclusions. To give exclusive conclusions, we are doing the research. Now, coming to the next one, more examples. Contingency approach to management. Like that, I have given a lot of examples which we can work on. Contingency approach to management, continuing education and lifelong trends, corporate governance, corporate social responsibility, customer relationship management, decision support, diversity, electronic commerce. Like that, you can think of any number of topics that can be researched. Just a minute, 1 second. I am getting some call. Sorry, I told them not to call me. Yeah, continue. Yeah, you have a lot of examples. Any topic can be researched today. Now, how do I choose a topic in the research? I have told you all these examples. You can even Google and see what topic can be researched. I have gone to a movie. I would like to see that how many of them in the classroom like that. So you can do that research that interests you in your area. Now, there is one difference in management. Several areas are there. I have done more researches in marketing and human resource, but nevertheless, I have also researched a little bit on finance. Now, what do we do with the data in finance is that we take up the secondary sources and try to evaluate what is currently happening, what is the present scenario, how this will impact in the future. This is how we are predicting for the finance researchers. So this is how it is going to help us. Now, with the topic and understanding, will I learn something new? Yes, definitely we are learning something new when we do a research. To understand, no. Researchers have been given a lot of examples today. Today, I could see in American universities, even the thought papers are put in as a research published in A category journals. I'll talk about it a little later, but you can have this in your mind. So A category journals, they put in their thought papers, whatever they think that may be the future. The thought papers are also very much validated and researched. Next slide, ma'am. Next slide, ma'am. Now, where do I find research? And can I do research in the internet? Yes, today after internet is our handy tool, you can use research. You can use this as a source for research. You can use this as a source for research. You can use this as a source. The three main: systematic literature review, gap identification, and refining topic. Now, what is this systematic literature review? Investigating existing research. So why we are using that is to understand what already researchers have done, in the existing literature sources. Now, after that, a form of research is that we have to identify the gaps. Now, identification of gaps is a question mark, even for us. Even after this much time, 26 years of research experience, we are not able to correctly find the gaps. But when we go through a systematic literature review, from the literature sources, we can identify the gaps. I'm going to show an example and we will understand the gap correctly. Now, next is making the research question specific and feasible. The previous slide of mine for this specific question, what we are going to address. So next slide, ma'am. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So here I am also bringing some sources of literature review, since we are discussing the whole point from the starting till the publication. Now, sources of literature review will be free sources is the 4 sources what I have mentioned in the slide: Google Scholar, JSTOR, PubMed, and ResearchGate. For ResearchGate, you need to register. JSTOR, you need not register. PubMed, yes, you need to register. Google Scholar and JSTOR are available freely. You can access that so that you will be having literature review in your area. You can find your literature papers in your area. You can download your PDF, start looking at that, reading that. So that is also another point that you need to go through. Few more sources I will tell you. Yes, ma'am. Next slide. Yes. Now you have multidisciplinary databases like Elsevier, world's top global resource source. Elsevier, all the papers available to us until and otherwise the institute subscribes this. Even for me, it is not available, but we are using through other sources. Now, another top class journal is that Wiley Online Library. Here also only the abstract is available on the free source. Other things are not available. Even for Elsevier, abstract is available. All the sources are available on with the databases. But Elsevier is a paid version. Elsevier is a paid version. Now, we can't, all the colleges, they don't, they will not be able to take this, but still we can get the abstract. We can have the knowledge about these resources. Next slide, ma'am. You have also Springer. See, there you publish in Springer, it is equal to a PhD. So that is the level it has actually. Next comes the then you have Emerald, ProQuest. ProQuest we can easily publish. Capitaline for finance papers. So these are all the multidisciplinary databases that is available for the faculty members, but some are available by paying. So this is how it is. Next. Next, ma'am. Now you have Humanities and Social Sciences database, Project Muse, PsycInfo, Social Science Research Network. This is also, of course, open repository of social sciences, but you can access that, but always papers, some papers are not available in this resource. You have the PsycInfo, American Psychological Association's database. Then you have Project Muse, that is also providing lot of literature sources on cultural studies, history, marine studies. This is giving you the databases. Next slide, ma'am. Now you have some sources exclusively for business and economics. Business source complete. You have the EBSCO's database specializing in this. Then you have the Econlit. You have the American Economic Association's database. You have the Statistica that provides reports and industry that is useful for market and economic researchers. Then you have ERIC. Education Resource Information Center. All these are available only after registration, and some papers freely are available, some papers not available freely. Next slide, ma'am. Now, specialized databases also includes ACM Digital Library, Agris, Aristotle, Medline. So these are for completely for life sciences actually, not much useful for MBS, but the MCAs, BCAs, all other people can utilize these databases. Pharma people can utilize. Another free resource for all of us, even I'm using this DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals, which is available, wherein I can take some required, required thought papers and applied papers here. Next. Next slide, ma'am. Now, top class journals, I have to mention this. This is called as ABDC. You have this Australian Business Deans Council, ABDC. So one point I would like to mention here, in category A journals, even your references should be from A class journals. So that is the criteria they are making the choice for. Then C category, recently many people have published from India. C category, D category, they try to publish equally. They have classified this management journal discipline into A, B, D, and C. C category is easily publicizable, but should be very unique study, and it should be one in the area which is not researched on. That is how these top class journals talk about. Next. Next, ma'am. Now, what is the next step? Now I've told all these databases. How do we go about? Now I started with somewhere, now I'm going somewhere. So let me come back. So after seeing all these databases, from some database, you download your article. Read the highlights. So what is the highlights I'm going to read in the paper? It is not the introduction part you can read, but go mainly to objectives, then get into the methodology, then get into the findings, and finally come to the area where you can understand what they have concluded on. If these three we know, then definitely we can go ahead with our research work. Earlier, what we used to do in our times, 15, 20 years before, we did not have any sources. We used to copy and paste diagrams, study. Finally, ultimately, the gaps are shown. Yes, ma'am. Next slide, so that I will be able to teach you regarding the gap. See, here I have taken a model from customer relationship management, which is already studied on. You can see it is linked with arrow mark. Now you can see the 4 highlighted area. Now, information technology, knowledge management, market orientation, and organizational performance. For example, the research papers you have downloaded would not have covered market orientation. So that is the gap. Another paper would not have covered knowledge management. That would be the gap. Another paper would not have covered information technology. So that is the gap. So here we as researchers need to formulate, identify whether which area is discussed in this paper, which area is not discussed in this paper, which area they have discussed more. These things we can highlight in our literature review. These things we can also mention that more discussion on this point, less discussion on this point. This is how we are going to identify our gap. Hope all of you are clear with how we are doing gap identification. Now, even in this, apart from the circle, I have also mentioned several other variable names here. Customer-centric, business model, customer information, financial performance, marketing performance, customer focus, social infrastructure, human resource management, any one area they would not have touched upon. So that becomes our gap. So we have to identify these gaps and then go ahead with our next objective questions so that we can go further in our research. Next slide, ma'am. Now, continuation. Identified my gap. Now, related a title. Now, how am I going to go further? Find my topic, match that with the objectives that's going to happen. Now, framing objectives is one part. Objective statements is another part. Example, now here I am starting. What will I identify? What am I going to analyze? What am I going to investigate? So these are the questions that will going to put a answer or identify answer for all these questions so that my focus area of research is clear. Next, ma'am. Now, till now, I was discussing first point. Now, I am going to cover the second part of the presentation, that is effective strategies for conducting research. Effective strategies for conducting research. So how do I go about once my objectives is done? Now, how am I going to go about? So now I need to choose the data collection methodology. I'm going to choose what kind of data I'm going to collect. Now here in the data collection, I have got several questions to be answered. How am I going to collect the data? Today, standard format, what the researchers are doing is float a Google form or G form, whatever you call it as, whether it is filled by right person or not also. So we don't know. But for some researchers, even today, hand-on delivery methods is used. Now, before that, I will talk about data collection. How am I going to collect the data? What are the instruments I am going to use for collecting the data? So all these are the points. Now, research objectives and questions need to give a complete focus on what will be our result. If it is not giving the focus, we won't know what we are going to do. So here data collection can be qualitative or quantitative. So qualitative data, today you have different kinds of methodology where we'll be using knife, like we have the facial expressions, smileys being told. And then how do we analyze that? So we have the digital knife methodologies, and also we have the text analytics today, where we can code data, available data, and then we can convert into numbers. So that is also possible because today companies wants numbers. So that is how qualitative data we try to work on, converting the text data into a quantitative data, convert that, and then we are doing it. Numerical data is often into variables. Now numerical data, when we are going to study through quantitative methodologies, we have using the word variables, and which we are going to test on. Ma'am, can you please mute? Yeah. Koteshwari madam, can you please mute? Yes, thank you. Now coming back to the point here, quantitative data is completely numerical. So, you know, we use instruments, we use questions that will be converted to numbers, and then we will take it to further treatment of the study. Now, qualitative data also today, what we are trying to do, we don't put it just like that. We use the text formats to convert that into a quantitative data and present it to the required format. So this is how we do the data collection part. Next one. Selecting data collection methods. Then a lot of methods are available. As I told you, nowadays, G forms are common. Now, coming back to the point, surveys and questionnaires or systematic instruments that is formulated based on the objectives. Next is interviews, ideal for in-depth insights. But today what we are going to do is record the interviews, take the words, convert that important words into the format, and then we are going to analyze that. even then we are going to bring in the quantitative methods even for that. Now these interviews will be structured. Questions are predetermined because we need to achieve our objective. Now semi-structured questionnaire also, we are trying to record the words and try to use it further. Unstructured will not give us any result, but somewhere we have to touch on that since it is a formulated research work. Next thing is observations. Recording observations or events in the natural setting, but this is not applicable much for management researchers. It is applicable for scientific and other methodologies wherein you're going to utilize that. Next one, next panel. Secondary data. Now all these I was talking about was on primary data. Now secondary data already is collected and it is presented in different format. So government reports, academic studies, also journal publications, which I showed some slides back. Now next step is to prepare the instruments for data collection. Now how am I going to prepare the instrument? Instrument could be dichotomous questions or Likert scales or ranking scales, like that I need to use in setting the instruments. Now, how much time I am going to collect the data? So that is the point that we need to understand. Timeline, setting deadline for each step. For this, I need to complete. For next, I need to complete. For each activity, I'm going to draw a chart and set a timeline. So this is how we can complete a research. If we don't set a timeline, we cannot complete a research. Research will be incomplete and we cannot show anything to the wherever we wanted to publish that. Now defining sample strategy. Now sampling always a challenge to researchers. Deciding how you are going to select the participants, who will be the right people, what is the data point, etc. So that is the very important area, defining the sample. Now, for defining the sample, we need a particular methodology, which I will be discussing next. Determining resources needed. Now, apart from the money, you need tools, software, personnel, budget, etc. is required. Today, if you are using hand-on delivery method, you will have to collect the data. Through you have Xerox copies, you need to take permission from people, they have to accept. So like this, you will have to go through a lot of procedures and you will have to spend your time and resources. Now, next is ensuring consistency, standardizing how data will be collected to maintain uniformity. So almost whoever gives the answers or answering your questionnaire or whatever, it has to be completely focus oriented and all has to give the equal amount of data, whatever you require, whatever information you require. To ensure the consistency, we are going to collect data from multiple sources. Now, during sample, so I have used a word, random sampling. What is this random sampling? Random sampling will come into the picture if I have well-defined number of people. Now, well-defined number of people means students in a college is a defined number, employees in the organization, defined number. Then I can use this random sampling. Now, for this, I need, how do I do with the population? How many people would have seen a movie? This question arises. So I cannot have this kind of a sampling strategy. For that, I'll be using non-probability sampling. For here, I am using random sampling. Here also, there is a strict rule given by the research methodology. They tell that when you have the finite number, you are supposed to allocate random numbers so that equal chance is given to everybody. Now, I cannot do that because the employees' numbers total number only will be shared, but I cannot be allocating random numbers for them. So this is the issue for permission. So we just write, it's a domain sampling, simple random sampling we have done. So we have collected the data from the employees of the organization. This is how we are going to do that. Now, can I have the next slide, ma'am? Yeah. Now, one point is that pilot test data collection. In PhD, most of the guides insist on pilot testing because it can correct the instrument to again refocus on the objectives. But for smaller studies, like whatever we are doing for research purpose, we are not doing that. But if we do that, it will be relevant to understand and reframe our questionnaire to match the objectives or the interview questions. Whatever we have decided, that we can match that with the objectives. So this is how it is. Next slide, ma'am. Now here I am talking little more on the probability sampling and simple random sampling and systematic sampling. Now, commonly for the population, for unknown population or population not well defined, we are using non-probability sampling, where I have written in the second part, it is convenience sampling, very easy. Now that is, we don't know, because whomever we are getting, we are using that. Now coming back to the simple random sampling, I just gave you the example how we are going to use. Last year, I have collected data from Anthem Bioscience Company. There I know the total number of employees available in the new Anthem plant, 1,000 and some employees in one shift. So totally around 6,000 employees are there. But which shift, when the permission will be given, what am I going to do? Here I have to allocate simple random sampling. So I allocated simple random sampling numbers, and then I chose from this department few people, production this many people, then safety department few people. So I had to allocate numbers and I had to do that. Now, another question is that for the probability sampling, we can do this way. For non-probability sampling, as researchers, we have always a doubt. How much sample should I take? I don't know. Commonly, what we do is we will allocate 100. Okay, 100 let us collect. 200 let us collect. So it is a wrong thought process that we should not think about 100, 250 or like that numbers. But for beginners, you can start with 100. But research methodology tells a format for addressing the sample size. So you have the formula Z for calculating that. But today, even the statisticians do not use the Z sample test. But I am going to give you some simple, easy ways, a strategy rather, to decide on the sample size. Next slide, madam. Before going to that, I have some more points here to discuss on sampling. Then I will show you some easy way. Quota sampling. This is stratified random sampling, but we will allocate quota. Supposing I am going to collect in a particular area, so I am going to allocate in this area, this road, this road, this road. So this is how I am going to give the quota sampling, which will be randomly representative of that one. Then purposive sampling or judgmental sampling based on, supposing I want to research on a BMW car. So I can't be asking anybody, BMW, Mercedes-Benz. So people who own Mercedes-Benz will be going for BMW car, or BMW car, whoever owns that, or a rich person who has not bought BMW car. So I am going to make a choice of this. So this is what comes under judgmental sampling. So his income is above this. He is the owner of the company. So I am going to make a judgment based on that. This is one example. Another example I can give you is, I would like to ask chartered accountant about the new software packages. So I am going to use people who are already chartered accountants or who are aspiring chartered accountants. So this all becomes under judgmental sampling. Now another part, snowball sampling. What is this snowball sampling? Now I am collecting data for CRM in a company. I don't know the number of respondents who will be answering. I don't know who is who. For that reason, excuse me, for that reason, I am going to use snowball sampling. So that from one data and from one respondent, I am going to collect the name of another respondent. So the ball will be rolling like that. So you put that as a snowball sampling. Next slide, madam. Now, calculation of a sample size. This is always a doubtful issue for all the researchers. Defining your population N, setting your confidence level Z, determining the margin of error, estimating the population. This is all for non-probability sampling. We normally do this. So every time, the 95 to 99% is a common point for error for the analyzing the Z score, for analyzing the Z score. But what happens is we do not know the correct population. Wherever we are referring internet and using this, what it will tell, it will show 10 years, 15 years old data. No matter what it is showing, we need to use that and calculate the sample size. Next slide, madam. Yeah, for that, for all of your benefit, I have brought in one easy point here, calculator.net. It is a sample size calculator. You can visit this website, enter your population size. It will calculate automatically. So this is the easiest. You need not work on the population. Just identify the population, put it here with the 95% confidence level, 5% error margin. It is going to give you the correct population size. Next slide, madam. You can see and mark it. You can utilize for the next, whenever you are doing research. Next one. Next slide, ma'am. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So margin of error also, you can put the sample slice. So it will automatically calculate and give you. So this is the trick I wanted to show you, that no researchers need to struggle. You can automatically get the margin of error and sample size by using this website. Thank you. Next one. Next one. Yeah. Now, systematic analysis of the collected data. We have collected the data. What are we going to do next? Data coding and organization. How am I going to code the data? Coding is slightly a difficult job. See, for some questions, see, for gender, male, female, children, whatever, I'm going to code 1, 2, like that. Then all this part of, then I'm going to drop the, if I have 5 answers, I'm going to rate this. I like the juices, different juices. I will take example. Rate these juices. So somebody would have rated apple juice, orange juice, like that. Now I have to recode that. Apple juice 1, orange juice 2, guava juice 3. So like that, I am going to code that so that it will come into a format. So based on the coding, I am going to get or interpret the results. How much people sample I have taken, how many sample have preferred this. So first make a simple percentage analysis, then go to the descriptive statistics, calculate your mean, median, mode, standard deviation, etc. Then you can come out with the point of inference, whether what kind of analysis is needed, what is the hypothesis you have put in. Based on the objectives, you can formulate the hypothesis 1, 2, 3, like that. You can formulate as many hypotheses as possible. Then you can interpret the results through regression, chi-square test, like that. You can go on. Next slide, ma'am. Now, for analyzing the results, because we are not using small sample size, we have lot of softwares today. So I have given the name of statistical softwares here in my slide. SPSS, I use SPSS very commonly. SPSS, R, SAS, Strata, Smart PLS, Systat, and Python. So these are the statistical softwares available for data analysis since we are using bigger data. Next, coming to the data visualization. Data visualization, we use Tableau, Power BI, ggplot2, or package, etc. Now, for qualitative analysis, Vivo, then Max DQA, then Atlas TI. So these are all the digital analysis we are using today as a part of data analysis softwares. Now, many of you here, researchers, they will ask whether should I know about or study about these researchers? Yes, then I will tell you, yes, any one at least we may have to learn. So that is very, very important. Then only we can go ahead with the research presentations and we can publish in journals. Majority of the journals look into your analysis part. Very few journals, they publish your thought papers. But American journals accept the thought papers, but other journals, they don't accept thought papers, or validation is given mostly to the papers which are quantitative. That's what I can tell you. Now, interpreting results, interpreting your findings in the context of the research objectives. So you can understand the mean, how they relate to the initial hypothesis, research questions, or they linked, or they giving different results, whether they are whether the results are positive, negative, why it is positive, why it is negative. So you have to prepare a summary of the findings based on the results or outcome, whatever you can call it as. Next comes the conclusion. How do we write the conclusion for a presentation or a proposal? We are writing conclusion based on the objectives. Objectives and the conclusion need to match. Also, we can talk about the sources where we have taken or what other authors have concluded on, that we can bring in. Next slide, ma'am. Now comes the point of how do I write my bibliography. So there are many methods to write bibliography. Here are two examples. I have given one from MLA format, Modern Language Association. I have shown you how to write MLA format in this Scriber. Then you have Annie Sharks, then you have Newark, then you have the year in the last. For the website, you have to cite this way. Today, internet is helping us how to write bibliography. Easy that you store all your data and you can, but you have the bibliography softwares, which I am going to discuss in the next few slides. Next, ma'am. Now, another style of writing bibliography is Chicago style, end notes and bibliography. Then you have Harvard style. Then in Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, they have another style. This IEEE magazine is published always. Whoever were taking patents in the particular area, they publish it in this format. So they have a separate format for this. Now, commonly, management professors and associates, they use this kind of a bibliography, APA 7th edition. That is recently what is used. American Psychological Association and style, commonly used in social sciences. Emphasis the publication date, the citations, all these things. Now, also you have the reference management software like EndNote, Zotero, Mendeley. Mendeley is commonly used by most of the researchers to organize the citations and references. Now, also, most of the journals which we are trying to publish, they look at the citations, how many citations you have kept in. So you have a paper of 10 pages, at least 35 to 40 citations need to be there. That is how. Some journals accept it even for 20, but majority of them look at the citations, how much you have given it. Next one, next slide, ma'am. Now, tips, we are into the third area of discussion, tips for successful publication. Now, we have started like how to do a research. Now, the third area we are coming to in the discussion is tips for successful publication. Choose the right journal. Which journal? How do I begin? Where do I start with? Research journals. Now, I am a nascent, I have not done any publication. So where do I start? So for this, I'll give you one idea. You can go through a peer peer-referred journals, that is any college publications which is not in accessed into UGC, that and all you can start there, so that and you can improvise your writing and then you can look into. But if you want to publish in a bigger UGC care journals, then you have to look into journal metrics. Then also read the aims and scope of research and journal focus, which will give you a clarity which area you can publish in that particular journal, because all journals do not publish all areas. So that is the point here. Look at the impact factors, acceptance rate. Some journals do it 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, and publication times, quarterly, half yearly. So this and all you need to know about before getting into the publications. Also, today, some journals have APA charges, journal publication charges. Some journals are free. Some journals have the publication charges. Next slide, ma'am. Now, preparing your manuscript. Now, you have researched, you have got everything. How you need to do the manuscript, following the guidelines. See, research language is completely different. But today, people are telling, and also my experience also counts here, like you can use a different language for writing. Research, of course, has a language, but you can use a different language because plagiarism is an issue since everybody are publishing online. So plagiarism, we need to take it up, and so that is the reason we have to utilize the changed words scenarios, and then you can rewrite your this thing. Now, before that, whichever journal we have chosen, they would have given the submission formalities and guidelines. We have to follow that. Then clarity in writing manuscript, well-written document, logically structured, and it is free of errors. Now, including all sections necessary. Typically an abstract, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, and references. So these are all the common areas which all the journals have. Now, apart from that, I will share one experience. When I was publishing in Singaporean Journal of Management, what happened is they told us to separate the tables from the theory paper. So table number would be written there and tables would be dropped in separately. But when I did the same thing for another journal, Turkish journal, they did not accept. Their methodology was completely different. So we need to understand what is their rule. We have to follow that. Then only we can publish it in as and when it's required. Next slide, ma'am. Now, submission of manuscript. So submission of manuscript today, most of the journals take online submission. Most journals do online submission. They would have given an email ID or they would be giving links in that you need to post your paper. So this is the format, A4 size paper, Word document, like that they would have given. All that we need to follow and submit. And in some, if they accept the email, then you can write a cover letter summarizing your research and its significance. Then track your submission. If it is possible to track the submission, then you can go ahead with when they are publishing, where it has been sent to the people who are reviewing the article, or what is the status. Like that, you can track your submission. Some journals give tracking submission. Some journals do not give tracking submission. Next slide. Now, reviewers review the manuscript and they will be giving few comments. And we have to change that according to the reviews and then resubmit the revised article within the deadline given. So that is the point that we need to put it across. Okay, so this is about the peer review point. Next comes the point of acceptance and publication. If the manuscript is accepted, you will receive the acceptance letter. If then some corrections are there, you will be given proofs of corrections, what will be sent, etc. Then publication. Once the proofs are approved, your article will be published, and then they will be sending either link, certificate, or a copy of the article published on a specific date or month. Next, ma'am. Next, ma'am. Now we are entering into the previous slide, ma'am. Now we are entering into the fourth area, developing a research plan, how to enhance the research skills. First time when we wrote, actually, if you see my first paper, I would tell you it was about the post office schemes. So then even that paper is now cited on Google Scholar. It is very astonishing that even those schemes which are, of course, post offices are being reduced now. People are using e-methodologies rather. So even you can see methods that enhance the skills in that. No, you can see how you develop that, defining theory papers and connecting that. So today I would always tell you, start with the writing only with, not a qualitative paper, but a quantitative paper. Then you can come into the points of the thought papers little later. But when we started in differently. But now after so many years, I have able to tell that thought papers or the last one we should go in. Now we can clearly work on the other kind of papers that we can do that. Now defining the objectives very clearly, this is how we are going to draft the research plan. Now creating a timeline. Now each work, each task, we have to create a deadline. Then only we can complete. Organize your approach. First, what I have to do. Second, what I have to do. Third, what I have to do. First, write in the introduction, know about the subject, read literature reviews. So this will give us some idea or foundation for the thoughts. Next comes the point of objectives. How am I going to draft the objectives? What are the research questions? What are the research problems? How am I going to define that? Next comes the area of methodology. How am I going to design that? So those things are the point that will enhance your research skills. Next slide, ma'am. Improving information literacy. Now, learning how to search, that is another challenge to the researchers. Now, Google is there, Scholar is there, but we are not getting exact papers what we want. But if you have all the databases, a campus like Indian Institute of Science or IIMs, you click a word, within a fraction of a second, 100 papers will be downloaded. But it is not possible for a common researchers like us, where we don't have access to the databases. So this is how now we have to put specific keywords in the research. Keywords, now I am going to research on customer relationship management. So I will put study on customer relationship management in this industry. Whoever has researched, now we are specific with the dates, 10 years from now. So 2014 to 2024, what are the latest? So slowly we have to get back using these search engines and databases. This is very, very critical, because all the researchers need to be narrowing down. If we do a broad research, it doesn't give exact results in any of the researchers rather. We cannot do broad researches, it doesn't give the results. So we have to narrow down the research. I insist, I state, this is very, very important. Now, evaluating the sources. Critically assess the credibility and relevance and biases of the sources. So whenever we are lighting limitations, we can also put it forward and we will know about it. Now, another tip for all the all the researchers I can give you is, you have to stay updated. If I am starting with one subject, let me stand across for one particular subject and I will study that subject in deep. So I'm using the word CRM. Maybe I am most interested in that area. So I will keep updated on the particular thing. Now, one more point I can suggest to the learned colleagues who are attending this seminar is that when I am starting publishing and working on the same area, I can produce DLIT you can produce DLIT in any universities if you have 50 plus papers. Also, that will be used as you can publish a textbook if you are writing in the same area. These are the advantages for us if you are publishing in a particular area in the management. But if you are diverting in many things, then it will be difficult for you to publish the books in or books or any other sources, etc. Now, can I move to the next slide, ma'am? Yes, utilizing technology and tools. Now, as I've stated previously also, Mendeley is the commonly used software for using for citations. One example I can give you, even if you see a textbook chapter, in the end, they have given the references used. So always mandatory citations, very, very essential. If you don't cite, it is not going to give you any prominence on that. So citing is very, very important. Many journals look at your citations. Next point, data analysis software. So I told you SPSS are today people who are very competent with C++ programs. You can use R. It is a free source software. Then Navivo and data analysis, any other software like I mentioned in the previous slides, you can use that. Then one tip I can tell you is that you can always make note when you get a query during your research, always add one query whenever you track it. Also, if you have the idea on the same research, you can keep it up somewhere. You can utilize the same thing for your next research. So that will continue your research in the same area. Next slide, ma'am. Now, point is, here comes how do I write? I may not be very good in English, but can I write? Yes, you can write. Practice academic writing. Regularly read articles, how they have written, what words we can use. Like this only, we have also improved in this area. So regularly write summaries, critics, note the points. This will enhance the point of writing rather. So this will improve your writing skills. Sometimes make sentences on your own. Today you have sentence softwares like Grammarly. All these are available online. It will help you in framing beautiful sentences which are not plagiarized. Then seeking feedbacks. When you're writing, you can ask your seniors, others, whether my writing is okay, or whoever has published already, taking their help will improve your networking. But you need not show your full research and the data. Today you can show them whether my writing is correct or not. Just take help from your peers, colleagues, etc. So that is going to help you. Then next point is reading extensively. So reading on a particular topic is very, very important. And then you can understand why you have read that. Your deeper knowledge will be in the particular area. You will be very perfect in writing or reading or whatever you would like to do. Next slide, ma'am. Participating in research communities, joining academic forums. You can't join just like that, but you can join when with a note like I would like to work on this area. Can I talk to you? So this is going to enhance your network. Another point is that attend conferences. Third point is that collaborate with peers so that you can commonly work on the research projects and gain a new perspective or idea or a thought on a particular topic. Next. So all these where I started from the research point of view and I have ended till how can you publish. All the 4 areas I have touched upon. I hope all of you understood what I spoke on. You got some tips from me and I think you will be benefiting from my presentations. Thank you once again, and I'm open for your questions. I'm open for your questions. Anybody wants to? Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, before opening to the question and answer session, I would like to share a small information with all the academicians here. That we have launched a national conference on sustainability paradigm shift in global business practices, which will be held on 3rd December, and we are calling for papers which will be published in UGC Care journals. So the theme is sustainability and the paradigm shift in global business practices. Whereas the sub-themes we have given are into 6 sub-themes: business management, marketing, finance, human resources, entrepreneurship and startup, and information technology. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
To all of you. These are the sub-themes and sub-topics are also there. So I request all the academicians to start your research journey, those who are planning, and the existing ones to publish a paper, present a paper and publish. The timelines we have till 25th of November to submit your paper. So with these sub-themes, with any of the given industries, we have come across with the very nominal charges as well. I'll be sharing this brochure. Please do join with us for the conference. Thank you, ma'am.
Kindly share the brochure, ma'am, whoever has joined for this discussion.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be sending them through mail, ma'am. Thank you all, and thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful, enriching session. Now the session is open for question and answers. Either you can unmute and ask the questions.
Yeah, please unmute and ask the questions. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Saira Bana ma'am has raised her hand. Ma'am, any questions, please?
Some other day I can make, ma'am. That is, we have, today we have AI tools helping researchers very easily. Lot of AI tools are available that can help researchers easy for paper writing. That is a separate topic that can be taken.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for discussions rather.
Yeah, the feedback link has been shared in the chat box. Kindly provide your feedback. It helps us further improvement.
Any questions? Any questions?
Hello.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. This is Pramila. And actually, at present, I'm pursuing my PhD. So I'm just publishing few papers. Actually, I have a doubt that, see, for example, if I have written a paper, I just wanted to publish it in care-listed journals only.
Yeah.
See, for example, if I wanted to publish a paper, I have one paper, for example. At a time, can I apply it in 2 different journals until I get the acceptance first. For example, some of them they suggest me where you get the acceptance first, then you can proceed over there like
Yes,
that.
ma'am. Yeah, you can apply in 2 different journals, but once one journal has accepted, immediately you take up the other journal and tell them kindly don't publish my paper. Because yes, because you are doing PhD, it is very, very important that, you know, your journal, your articles get published. So you can apply in 2 journals. Immediately, once you get acceptance, you can tell the other journal that not to publish this paper. You can write to them immediately. So that is the best way you can do.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other question?
Sorry, ma'am, we are not able to access to that link. I'm not getting that link.
Ma'am, if you have brochure PDF, you can, of course, share that as well.
Questions can be raised, please.
It's working. Can you please check it again? Google form.
Not to worry. I think we can mail them also. The link.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any questions, please?
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I'm also registered for my PhD and right now in methodology part, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
So, ma'am, actually, when I'm trying to work on my methodology, especially I have set up a data collection part.
Yeah.
That is, ma'am, like a few of the reasons. Mine is into finance area, ma'am. So I'm depending on secondary data.
Yes.
So here, actually, I have to give some scoring based on content analysis.
Yes.
So here, 2 methodologies I have so far seen in various literature. Ma'am, one is like a Bloomberg kind of company published scores people are taking and doing, ma'am. Or else we have to evaluate. We have to give our scores based on a qualitative analysis. So, which method would you suggest, ma'am? Like,
see, based on your topic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what you can do is for finance researchers, mostly what we do, we take up from the secondary data only, then apply a particular model. Either we look into the forecast analysis to any of the forecasting techniques you can use, model, camel model, CAPM model, lot of models. After extracting the data, then we bring it to a particular format. We apply model. So then we try to evaluate, analyze that. This is a commonly used finance. But today I could see most of the finance people are using investors' perspective. Like that, again, you come back to the normal social sciences data, perception data. So, you know, if it is a perception data, then you will have to go by the analyzing, collecting through a questionnaire with the customers, and you have to study that. So this is another methodology which you can use. I do not know your topic. Then I can suggest effective methodology. Then you can go by that.
Okay, ma'am. I'll get back to you, ma'am. Is it okay, ma'am, if I contact you in person?
No problem.
Or I mean over phone?
Yeah, anything. We can even come online like this only.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anytime online you can come in and we can discuss. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Any more questions? Dear participants, any more questions?
If it's done, ma'am, then I can.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
I think Samatha, yeah, will wind up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
If
ma'am.
candidates have no questions to ask, maybe we can wind up for the day.
Yes, ma'am.
Sumitra, ma'am, it was very beautifully presented and very, in a very simplified manner. Even
Yes, ma'am.
any beginner can understand, and then, you have inspired them to literally go ahead with their research. In very simplified manner, you put it up. Thank you so much for coming online and giving your precious thoughts, insights on this to our academicians and the faculty members who have gathered here today. Yes, Samatha, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We have covered a lot today. That is right from identifying a research topic to publication and how to identify journals as well. And I hope each of you leaves with sense of confidence in your research journey. On behalf of management principal, staff and students of Aditya Institute of Management Studies, I would like to thank our esteemed speaker, Dr. Sumitra Srinath, Professor, MP Birla Institute of Management, for the insights on enhancing research competency, and all the participants for their involvement and making this faculty development program a great success. I hope you found today's session is enriching and inspiring. Let us continue to build a research culture that thrives on collaboration, curiosity, and academic excellence. So I encourage all of you to continue developing your research competencies and to share the knowledge you gain with your peers and students. So once again, thank you all for your participation, and we look forward to seeing your research contributions in the future. Wishing you all the best in your academic endeavors. Thank you, ma'am, once again.
Thank
for joining with us.
Thank you, Pushpa Shetty, ma'am. Thank you
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for being online with us. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
And thank you all participants too. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And sincere apologies for the technical glitches in the beginning.
Ma'am, that always happens.
And my request for all the researchers who are online today, please do take the, as Samatha just announced that we are coming up with a national conference. Please do make it a point to work on it. You have time. Maybe you can come out with a good research paper and present it in our conference. And the best of the papers will get published in any of the UGC journals shortly. So I think it's a good opportunity. Make the best use of it immediately after this session. Okay, all the best. Let us keep researching. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, I can help anybody to write paper.
Yes. So nice of you. So nice of you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be in touch with you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, all of you. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all participants.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.